So, you're ready to build an AI agent. Awesome. But then comes the big question. Where is this thing actually going to live? Picking the right cloud platform is, honestly, one of the most critical first steps you'll take. So in this explainer, we're going to lay out a clear blueprint to help you make that decision. The goal? To get you building with total confidence.
Okay, so let's put on our AI agent architect hat for a minute. Your very first decision is a huge one. Are you going to go with Azure's super structured, enterprise-ready world, or maybe AWS, which is like this massive customizable workshop where you can build anything? Or what about Google Cloud? That's more like a fast-paced experimental lab. Let's dive in and really explore these options.
All right, here's how we're going to tackle this. We're going to build out your blueprint by making 3 key choices. First up, what's your building philosophy? Then we'll pick your toolkit, the actual software you'll use. And finally, we'll decide on your agent's home. Stick with me, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly which path to take.
Okay, let's get into it. The very first choice in our blueprint is all about your philosophy. And look, this isn't just about a list of technical features. No, this is much deeper. It's about the fundamental approach, the vibe, that each cloud provider thinks you should have when you're building an agent. So you can almost think of each platform as having its own unique personality, right? You've got Azure, which is all about enterprise integration. Then there's AWS, which gives you this super granular modular control. And Google, they're all about developer speed, just iterating as fast as you possibly can. So what does that actually mean when you're writing code? Let's find out.
First up, Azure. We're calling this one the Enterprise Planner. Everything is very project-centric, you manage it with their ASD command line tool, and it's really built for industries where rules and compliance are king. Think about it. Deep integration with Microsoft 365, really strong governance tools like prompt shields. It's the go-to for complicated business processes with multiple agents. That's exactly why you see big banks like Commerce Bank jumping on board.
All right, now let's talk about AWS, the master tinkerer. Their platform, Agent Core, isn't some pre-packaged box. Oh no. It's more like a toolkit full of Legos. You get to pick and choose all the individual components, memory, gateways, policy engines, and assemble your agent exactly how you want. This means you get maximum flexibility, total control, and you can plug in pretty much any model or framework you want. It's for the builder who wants to get their hands dirty.
And rounding out our big 3 is Google, the rapid prototyper. Their whole approach is laser-focused on the developer experience. It's very code-centric. You use their ADK command line tool to build and test on your own machine and then, boom, deploy to the cloud. It's a super smooth workflow. Plus, they're big on open standards like the A2A protocol for agents to talk to each other, and they give you great built-in tools to evaluate and iterate really fast.
Okay, so you've picked a philosophy. Great. Now for part 2 of our blueprint, choosing your toolkit. This is all about the actual code framework you're going to use to build your agent's brain, its logic. And really, it boils down to one huge choice. Do you use the cloud provider's native SDK, or do you go with a more universal, open framework?
And this, my friends, is a classic tech trade-off. On one hand, you've got the native SDKs. Think AWS Strands or Google's ADK. They are perfectly optimized for their home platform. You get this deep, seamless connection to all the good stuff, like monitoring and security. But on the other hand, you've got something like LangGraph. It's not tied to any cloud. Its strength is giving you ultimate control over your agent's logic, the flow, the decisions, and making it totally portable.
So why would you go native? Well, honestly, it's all about speed and simplicity. You get these turnkey features right out of the box. Managed memory, security, monitoring, it's all just there. Plus, you're backed by the cloud provider's official support, which is a big deal. And because they give you these higher-level tools, you write less boring boilerplate code and can just focus on what makes your agent special.
But there's a really compelling case for LangGraph too, especially if your project is complex. It lets you get really nitty-gritty and define these intricate workflows with loops and conditional logic that a native SDK might just not be built for. The biggest win, though? No vendor lock-in. Your agent's brain, its core logic, can run anywhere. And, as a bonus, it has this cool feature called checkpointing, which means if your long-running agent gets interrupted, it can just pick up right where it left off.
All right, we're almost there. We've got our philosophy, we've got our toolkit. The final piece of the puzzle, the last choice for a blueprint, is deciding on your agent's home. And the analogy here is pretty perfect. Are you renting a fully furnished turnkey apartment? That's the managed service. Or are you buying a plot of land and building a completely custom house from the ground up? That's the DIY infrastructure approach.
This really lays out the final trade-off, doesn't it? On the speed and simplicity side, you have the managed services. Azure Foundry, Google's Agent Engine, you name it. They take care of all the messy stuff. Infrastructure, scaling, security. It's fast. The DIY path, on the other hand, means using something like Kubernetes. It's all about total control and customization. This is for when you have really specific compliance needs or you need to tweak every little setting in your environment. And we need to be super clear about what DIY actually entails. It's a lot. It's not just one thing. You have to package your agent in a container, then you have to deploy it, then you have to set up all the networking and load balancers. You've got to connect a database to handle its memory, configure all the security roles and policies, and then build a whole monitoring and logging pipeline from scratch. It is absolutely a significant amount of work.
You know, this quote here really just nails it. Go independent if your team has solid cloud architecture and DevOps skills. That says everything, doesn't it? The DIY path gives you incredible power, for sure. But it's only a good idea if you have a team that truly lives and breathes cloud architecture and DevOps. If you don't, the managed service is almost always going to be the safer and definitely faster choice.
Okay, we've worked through the three big choices: our philosophy, our toolkit, and our agent's home. So now, let's put it all together. Let's finalize this blueprint by mapping these decisions directly to what you're actually trying to achieve with your project.
This table is basically your cheat sheet. Let's walk through it. So if your number one priority is enterprise integration, security, governance, all that good stuff, then your blueprint is clear. Azure's Enterprise Planner philosophy using their native SDK on their managed service. Simple. Now what if you need absolute maximum flexibility and control over everything? Then you're an AWS master tinkerer. You'll probably want to use LangGraph and run it all on your own Kubernetes setup. And finally, if you just need to build something and test it fast, if speed is everything, then you're a rapid prototyper. Go with Google, use their native ADK, and deploy on their agent engine. That's your path.
So there you have it, a really clear framework to help you decide how and where to build your next AI agent. The blueprint is all laid out for you. It's ready. So the only question that's really left is, what are you going to build?